The city of Varthon Prime was known for its bright towers, floating markets, and skies filled with flying ships. But beneath the glow, in the shadowed corners, lived those whom no one wanted to see. Among them was a small alien girl, thin, weak, and hungry. Her name was Era. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes shimmered like cracked glass. She had not eaten in 3 days. Era stood in front of a food stall where the smell of hot bread filled the air. She watched people buy meals with glowing credits. She wanted to ask, but her voice trembled. When she finally whispered, "Please, just one bite," the vendor looked at her coldly. "No free food," he said. "Move away." She lowered her head and stepped back. Her stomach growled loudly. Around her, people laughed and walked by, pretending she didn't exist. A mother pulled her child closer. "Don't look at her," the woman whispered. "She's one of them." Era didn't understand what made her different. She was born on this planet, or at least that's what her mother used to say before she disappeared. The night was cold. Era sat by the side of the road, wrapping her thin arms around herself. The street lights flickered above, and every flicker showed the truth. A world that had no place for her. She thought of the only lesson her mother ever taught her. When no one gives, offer something they can't ignore. Era looked down at herself ashamed. Her mother's words felt heavy now. She had nothing, no family, no food, no hope, and yet she had her body. The next morning, when the suns rose over Varthon Prime, she stood in the same market again. Her voice was weak but steady. "Food," she said to the passing men. I can offer myself." The words hurt her more than hunger. But still, no one stopped. Some men laughed. Some looked disgusted. "Disgusting alien," one said. "Not even for free." Another threw a small coin at her feet, not out of kindness, but pity mixed with cruelty. She picked up the coin. It wasn't enough for a meal. Tears formed in her eyes, but she blinked them away. She didn't want to cry, not here, not in front of them. Just then, a loud engine sound broke through the crowd. A metallic rover rolled to a stop. A tall man stepped out, human, wearing a worn-out jacket and a strange metal arm. His face looked tired, his eyes sharp and searching. People moved aside when he walked, not because of fear, but respect. He looked like someone who'd seen too much war and too little peace. His name was Commander Darius Holt, a former soldier from Earth. He was known for his cold heart and broken past. But fate brought him to this very street, this very moment. As he passed, Era's weak voice reached him. "Sir, please. I can work. I can clean. I can—" Her voice broke. Darius turned his head slightly. For a second, he saw not a beggar, but a reflection of something he lost long ago. A small girl with the same desperate eyes as his daughter. Before she died in the war, he didn't say a word. He just stared. The vendor leaned toward him. "Don't bother with her," he muttered. "She's trouble. Dirty alien kid. Probably diseased." Darius didn't answer. His eyes stayed on Era. Her tiny hands were shaking, her skin almost gray now. He saw how people looked at her, not with hate but with emptiness. It reminded him of the battlefield, where the dying begged for help no one could give. He stepped closer. "When did you last eat?" Era blinked, unsure if she should answer. 3, maybe 4 days. He nodded slowly, then pulled something from his pocket. A ration bar, old but fresh enough. He held it out. The whole market froze. People stared. No one had ever offered her food before. Era looked at him, her eyes wide. "For me?" "Yes," he said simply. "Eat." She took it carefully, as if afraid it might disappear. When she bit into it, tears rolled down her cheeks. It was the first real food she'd tasted in weeks. Darius turned to leave, but something in him refused to walk away. He had come to this planet to forget, not to care. But now, for reasons he didn't understand, he felt something move inside. Something he thought was dead. Behind him, Era whispered, "Thank you." Human, he stopped. For a moment he looked back, and the world seemed to pause. A soldier and a starving alien child. 2 broken souls crossing paths in a heartless world. And somewhere in the high sky, unseen eyes were watching. Because saving this little girl was about to break a galactic law that no human dared touch. Era ate slowly, afraid the food would vanish if she finished too fast. Each bite felt like a miracle. Her eyes stayed fixed on the tall human who had given it to her, the man who didn't turn away like everyone else. When she finally finished, she whispered again, "Thank you, sir." Darius looked down at her. His voice was quiet, almost cold. "What's your name?" "Era," she said softly. "Just Era." He nodded once. "You have nowhere to stay, do you?" Era shook her head. "They don't let my kind inside the shelters. They say, alien children carry sickness." Darius clenched his jaw. He had heard this before, not just here, but on dozens of worlds. After the Great Galactic War, humans and aliens lived together uneasily. Laws were written to keep order, but most of those laws were chains disguised as protection. He took a breath. "Come with me." The crowd around them fell silent. A man shouted, "Hey, human! You can't take her. That's against the galactic code." Darius ignored him and walked toward his rover. Ira followed, limping slightly. Her bare feet left faint blue marks on the dusty road. The man shouted again, "You'll be punished. Humans aren't allowed to shelter alien miners. It's forbidden." Darius stopped and turned his head just enough to glare at him. "Then maybe it's a law worth breaking," he said. The market went dead quiet. Everyone watched as the ex-soldier and the starving girl disappeared into the crowd. Inside the rover, Era sat quietly, staring at the controls. The hum of the engine was soft and warm. She had never been inside a human vehicle before. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Somewhere safe," Darius said. "Safe?" She tilted her head. "Is that far away?" He gave a faint smile that never reached his eyes. "Too far sometimes." He drove out of the city and into the open desert. The twin suns hung low, painting the sky in gold and violet. The endless dunes shimmered like liquid glass. After an hour, they reached a small outpost, a metal shack half buried in the sand. Darius had lived there for years, far from the cities. It wasn't much, but it was quiet. He opened the door and warm air rushed out. The small place had one bed, a table, and a shelf full of strange metal parts. "You can rest here," he said. "There's water on the counter." Era walked slowly, touching the wall like she didn't believe it was real. This is your home?" "For now," Darius said. She turned to him with innocent eyes. "Why did you help me, human?" Everyone else just walked away. Darius looked at his metal arm. The gears inside whirred faintly. "Because once someone helped me." "When they didn't have to." He didn't say more. The memories were sharp. His daughter Lyra smiling before the war took her away. Ira smiled shyly and sat down. "Then maybe I can help you one day." Darius almost laughed, but the sound came out heavy. "You already did." That night, Era slept peacefully for the first time in years. Darius sat by the window, looking at the twin moons outside. The desert wind howled softly, carrying whispers of the city far behind them. Then his communication device beeped. He picked it up. A holographic symbol flashed red. It was a warning message from the Galactic Guard. "Unauthorized sheltering of alien miners is punishable under Section 47C of the Galactic Law. Turn in the subject within 24 hours." Darius's face turned pale. He knew what this meant. The Galactic Law was strict. No human could take in an alien child, not even to save her. They called it genetic contamination prevention. But everyone knew it was just another word for cruelty. He looked at the sleeping girl. Her breathing was soft. She trusted him completely. He couldn't let them take her. Not again. At dawn, he prepared a small breakfast. When Era woke, she smiled. "It smells nice." He handed her a plate. "Eat slowly." While she ate, he checked his rifle and packed supplies. He had made his decision. Era looked at him curiously. "Are we going somewhere again?" "Yes," he said. "We can't stay here. The city knows." Her eyes widened. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," he said gently. "You did everything right." He paused. "But sometimes doing the right thing makes the world angry." Era didn't understand, but she nodded. Outside, the desert was bright and endless. Darius started the rover and looked at her one last time before they left. "Era," he said quietly, "whatever happens, don't be afraid. You're not alone anymore." She smiled, the kind of smile that had been missing from his life for years. As the rover moved across the sands, far above them in the sky, a galactic patrol ship was already tracking their signal. And deep within that ship, a cold voice said, "Commander Darius Holt has broken the law. Capture him alive. The alien child must not survive." The twin suns were climbing higher as Darius drove the rover deeper into the desert. The sand shimmered like fire and the heat waves danced across the horizon. Inside the rover, the hum of the old engine was the only sound. Era sat quietly beside him, holding a small metal cup of water with both hands. Her blue skin looked brighter in the sunlight now that she'd eaten. She glanced at him. "Are we running away?" Darius didn't answer immediately. His eyes were focused on the radar screen blinking faint red. "We're moving," he said finally. "There's a difference," she frowned softly. "Moving from what?" "From people who think helping you is a crime." Era looked down, her small hands trembling. "Because I'm alien?" He nodded once. "Because you're different." "But difference doesn't mean wrong," she gave a faint smile. "You don't sound like other humans." "That's because I'm not like them anymore," he said, gripping the controls tighter. "War changes people." Far above them, in the deep violet sky, a galactic patrol ship glided silently. Inside, Commander Varn, a cold-eyed officer in a silver uniform, watched the screen. "Target confirmed," he said. "Human ex-soldier Darius Holt, classified dangerous. Traveling with unregistered alien minor." A soldier beside him asked, "Should we neutralize?" Varn shook his head. "Not yet. Headquarters wants the girl alive. They said she's important." He leaned closer to the screen. "But no one told me why." Back in the desert, Darius's rover reached a cliffside tunnel, an old mining route from the war days. He parked the vehicle under the shade and began unloading supplies. "Stay close," he told Era. "We'll hide here for a while." The tunnel was dark and cool, filled with echoes of dripping water. Era followed quietly, her bare feet leaving soft blueprints in the dust. As they walked, she asked, "Why are they angry with me, Darius?" He stopped and looked at her. "Because they fear what they don't understand." "But what don't they understand?" He sighed. "You, maybe." That night, they lit a small fire inside the cave. The flame reflected in Era's glassy eyes. She seemed lost in thought. Darius handed her a blanket. "Sleep," he said. "We leave before sunrise." She nodded, but before closing her eyes, she whispered, "When I was small, my mother said I was born special. But I never knew why. She used to say, 'Never let them see your glow.' Do you know what she meant?" Darius froze. "Glow?" Era nodded. "When I get scared or hungry, sometimes my skin glows a little. Just here." She touched her chest. He frowned. "Show me." She hesitated, then closed her eyes. After a few seconds, a faint light began to shine beneath her skin, soft, white, and pulsing like a heartbeat. Darius stepped closer, shocked. "That's not normal energy, that's biological fusion energy." Era blinked. "Is that bad?" He shook his head slowly. "No, it's impossible." He looked down, his mind racing. If she really had fusion energy inside her, she wasn't just a child. She was a living reactor, a being capable of powering entire cities. And the galactic government would never let such power stay free. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The fire flickered. Era gasped. "What was that?" Darius grabbed his rifle and ran to the cave's mouth. In the distance, lights were moving fast and silver drones sweeping across the dunes. "They found us," he muttered. He turned back to Ira. "Hide behind the rocks. Don't move until I call." She nodded, fear in her eyes. Outside, the sand roared as the patrol ships descended. Darius aimed and fired. The blast from his rifle lit up the desert. A drone exploded in flames, but there were too many. One drone shot back. The beam hit the cliff, sending dust and rock flying. Darius fell but rolled quickly, firing again. His metal arm sparked but kept working. He shouted, "Run, Era!" "Go deeper inside." She ran, her small feet slipping on the rocks. But just as she turned a corner, one of the drones locked onto her energy signal. Her hidden glow had betrayed her. A beam shot toward her, but before it hit, Darius jumped in front, taking the blast across his shoulder. The smell of burned metal filled the air. He groaned but didn't stop. He threw a plasma grenade, destroying the last drone in a burst of light. The silence afterward was deafening. Era crawled toward him, tears in her eyes. "You're hurt!" Darius gritted his teeth. "It's nothing. I've had worse." She shook her head. "Because of me?" He interrupted her softly. "No, because of them." He looked up at the night sky where the patrol ship lights were fading. "They'll be back stronger." Era wiped her tears. Then we keep running? He gave a tired smile. No, we start fighting back. She looked confused. But how can we fight the whole galaxy? He glanced at her glowing chest. Because, Era, they're afraid of what's inside you. And maybe that's the weapon we need. As dawn broke over the desert, Darius tightened the bandage on his wounded shoulder. Era stood beside him, quiet but determined. Neither of them knew it yet. But across the stars, powerful eyes had already noticed her light. And some wanted to save her, others wanted to use her. The war that ended years ago was about to begin again, all because one hungry alien girl was no longer invisible. The desert was silent after the battle. The wind whispered through the cracked rocks, carrying the smell of burned metal. Darius sat beside the broken rover, wrapping a bandage tightly around his wounded shoulder. His metal arm sparked faintly, but he ignored it. Era sat near him, her knees pulled close to her chest. Her eyes glowed softly, filled with guilt. You got hurt because of me, she said in a small voice. Darius looked at her, shaking his head. I got hurt because those drones don't like kindness. She tilted her head. But they were looking for me. He sighed. Yeah, and that's what scares me. They don't send galactic patrols for street beggars. Era looked away. Maybe they think I stole something? Darius stared into the fire. No, it's something else. He remembered the light that came from her chest. That energy wasn't normal, and it was alive. He'd seen reactors explode, stars collapse, soldiers burn under plasma storms, but never had he seen light so pure come from a living being. She was more than she seemed. And he needed to find out how. By morning, Darius repaired the rover using spare parts. The engine coughed but started. Era climbed in quietly, still holding a small piece of metal she'd picked up. A shard from the drone. What's that? He asked. She turned it in her hands. It has a symbol. Maybe it can tell us who sent them? Darius leaned closer. The metal piece had an insignia, a golden spiral with a single eye at the center. His expression hardened. The Celestial Order, Ira frowned. Who are they? They're not police, he said bitterly. They're worse. Secret branch of the Galactic Council. They don't protect laws, they erase what threatens them. She blinked. Like me? Like you, he said. And anyone who helps you. He pressed his hand against the controls. We're heading north. There's someone who might know what they want from you. Someone you trust? He paused. Not exactly. But she owes me a favor. They drove for hours through the golden dunes, then into a canyon filled with ancient ruins. Stone walls carved with alien symbols glowed faintly under the twin suns. Era's eyes widened. This place feels familiar. Darius looked at her. You've been here before? She shook her head. No, but it feels like I have. They stopped in front of a metal gate hidden inside the rocks. Darius banged his fist on it. Open up. It's me. After a long pause, a mechanical voice replied, Darius Holt, you have some nerve coming here. The gate opened with a heavy hiss. A woman stepped out, tall, wearing black armor, her eyes glowing gold. She was half human, half machine. Hello, Darius, she said with a cold smile. You look worse than ever. Nice to see you too, Rhea, Darius said dryly. Rhea's gaze shifted to Era. And who's the little alien? Era hid behind Darius, but he stepped aside. She's the reason I'm here. I need answers, Rhea raised an eyebrow. About what? He took a deep breath. About why the Celestial Order wants her dead. Inside the ruins, Rhea led them to a lab filled with glowing screens and strange machines. The air smelled of dust and energy. She scanned Era with a small handheld device. After a moment, her face changed, the confidence fading into shock. This can't be right. What? Darius asked. Rhea looked at the data. Her DNA isn't just alien, it's mixed. Mixed with what? Human, Rhea whispered. She's part human. Darius froze. That's impossible. Humans and her kind can't. They can't naturally, Rhea said. But someone made her. In a lab. She's a creation, Era's voice trembled. Made like a machine? No, sweetheart, Rhea said gently. You're alive. But someone used human and alien cells to create something new. Something powerful. That glow inside you? It's fusion DNA, designed to create unlimited clean energy. Darius understood now. That's why they want her. If the galaxy found out humans made a hybrid like her, it would start another war. Rhea nodded. Exactly. The council covered it up, and now they're cleaning the evidence, starting with her. Era stepped back, tears welling up. So, I was never real? Darius knelt beside her, placing his hand on her shoulder. You're as real as anyone, Era. You feel pain. You care, you laugh. Machines don't do that. She looked up at him, her eyes shining. Then why did they make me? He hesitated, his voice low. Maybe to remind the galaxy what life really means. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the ruins. Rhea looked at her screen. They've found us again. The Order's ships are closing in. Darius grabbed his weapon. Can you hide us? Rhea shook her head. Too late. They jammed the exits. The walls trembled as the first blast hit the canyon. Dust rained from above. Era's glow flickered again, brighter this time, pulsing with fear. The machines around her started reacting, lights flashing, systems powering on. Rhea's eyes widened. Darius, her energy is connecting with the old ruins. She's activating something. Era screamed as beams of light shot from the floor, forming strange symbols in the air. What's happening to her? Darius shouted. Rhea backed away, terrified. She's not just a hybrid. She's the key to an ancient power buried under this planet. The ground cracked beneath their feet and a blinding light filled the ruins. When it faded, Era was floating in the air, eyes glowing white. Her voice soft but echoing everywhere. They called me a mistake. But I was born for a reason. And far above, in the orbit of Varthon Prime, the Galactic Council received a signal, one they had feared for centuries. The ruins trembled like the planet itself was waking from a long sleep. Stones fell from the ceiling and energy pulsed through every crack in the floor. Darius shielded his face as the light swallowed the room. Era, he shouted. The glowing girl hovered in midair, her eyes pure white, her small body surrounded by swirling symbols of ancient power. The machines in Rhea's lab went wild, lights flashing, readings spiking off the charts. Rhea screamed over the noise. Her energy is linking with the planet's core. She's awakening something that's been asleep for thousands of years. Darius gritted his teeth. Then shut it down. I can't, Rhea yelled. She's not using techs, it's biological. She is the system. The ground cracked open and beams of blue light shot out, forming a massive circular pattern across the canyon. The air hummed like 1,000 voices whispering at once. Era slowly floated down, landing softly on the floor. Her glow faded and her eyes returned to normal. She looked around, confused. What happened? Darius ran to her, pulling her close. You tell me, she shook her head, trembling. I didn't mean to do anything, I just got scared. Rhea stared at the glowing ruins. You didn't just do something, kid. You woke something old, something human history erased. Outside, in the sky above Varthon Prime, the Celestial Order's ships halted. The captains watched in disbelief as massive energy waves spread from the canyon below. Commander Varn frowned. What in the stars is that? His technician replied, Unknown signal, sir. It's rewriting our system's codes. It's talking to us. The commander's voice turned cold. Shut it down. Destroy the source. Back inside, Darius helped Era stand. The walls were still glowing with ancient symbols. What did I wake? She asked quietly. Rhea typed rapidly on her console. According to the data, this site is older than any known civilization. The markings say it's part of the Vault of Genesis. Vault of what? Darius asked. Rhea looked up. A myth. It said that before the galactic races spread across the stars, one ancient species created a vault to preserve life energy. A power strong enough to rebuild or destroy entire worlds. It was lost. Until now. Era's eyes widened. And I woke it? Rhea nodded. You're the key. Your DNA matches the code written into the vault system. Whoever created you used the same genetic signature as the beings who built this place. Darius looked at her seriously. So someone made her to activate this? Yes, Rhea said. She's not a mistake. She's the trigger. Era stepped back, her voice shaking. But why me? Darius crouched down to her level. Maybe because you're the only one who wouldn't use it for power. Before she could answer, the ground shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rhea checked the scanners. They're here. The Celestial Order's ships are right above us. Darius stood up. Can we fight? Rhea frowned. Against a fleet? Not a chance, he looked at Era. Then we run again. Rhea grabbed his arm. Wait, there's a way out. An old tunnel system under the ruins. but it leads straight through the vault's core. You'll have to go through it. Through that? He said, pointing at the glowing chamber. Rhea nodded. It's dangerous, but it's your only chance. They ran as explosions echoed above. The Order's ships began bombarding the canyon. Dust filled the air, and ancient stone shattered under the blasts. Era stumbled, coughing. Darius picked her up and kept running. Almost there, he shouted. They reached a massive stone gate covered in glowing patterns. As Era touched it, the symbols rearranged, forming a spiral that pulsed with her heartbeat. The door slowly opened, revealing a long tunnel glowing with blue light. They stepped inside. The air was cold, humming like a living thing. Rhea's voice came through Darius's earpiece. Once you reach the other side, there's an exit near the northern ridge. I'll stall them as long as I can. Darius hesitated. Rhea, she cut him off. Go. Don't waste what she's given you. The line went dead. Inside the tunnel, Era's light guided the way. Strange murals appeared on the walls, images of stars, planets, and beings of light giving energy to worlds. She touched one of the carvings. They look like me. Darius looked closer. Maybe they are your kind. The first ones. She turned to him, fear and hope in her eyes. Do you think my mother knew? He nodded slowly. Maybe she did. Maybe that's why she told you to hide your glow. Era smiled weakly. I thought it was something ugly. He shook his head. It's not ugly, Era. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. For a moment, the silence between them was peaceful. The sound of two hearts beating in a world that had forgotten kindness. Then, ahead a bright portal appeared, the exit Rhea mentioned. But before they could reach it, the ground rumbled again. A shadow filled the tunnel entrance. It was Commander Varn stepping through the dust, his silver armor glowing under the blue light. His soldiers followed, weapons raised. He smirked. Going somewhere, Commander Holt? Darius raised his rifle. You're too late. Varn's cold eyes shifted to Era. She belongs to the Council. Hand her over. Era clung to Darius's arm. Please don't. Darius aimed at Varn's chest. Over my dead body, Varn smiled. That can be arranged. The tunnel filled with light as both sides prepared to fight. One human and one alien child against the power of an empire, and deep beneath the planet, something ancient stirred, waiting for the right moment to rise again. The tunnel glowed faintly blue, humming like a heartbeat. Dust hung in the air. Darius stood between Era and Commander Varn, his rifle aimed straight at the man's chest. Varn's soldiers lined the walls behind him, 12 men armored and silent, their weapons pointed at the girl. Era's hands trembled, her skin glowing faintly again. Darius, she whispered, they'll kill you. He didn't take his eyes off Varn. They'll have to try. Varn smiled, calm and cold. You think you can protect her from the Council? From the law? She's just a child, Darius said. She's not a child, Varn replied sharply. She's a weapon made to destroy worlds. You've seen it yourself. Darius's finger tightened on the trigger. No, she's a life that deserves a chance. The air tensed. For a moment, no one moved. The hum of the vault filled the silence. Then, Varn raised his hand. Fire! The soldiers shot first. Blue plasma beams filled the tunnel. Darius dove aside, grabbing Era and rolling behind a stone pillar. Sparks rained down as beams hit the walls. Stay down! He shouted. She closed her eyes, hands over her ears. I don't want to hurt anyone. Another blast shook the tunnel. Darius fired back. His shots were fast, precise, hitting one soldier's armor and knocking him down. But there were too many. Give up, Holt, Varn shouted. You can't win. Maybe not, Darius yelled, reloading, but I can make it cost you. He fired again, hitting a second soldier. The tunnel's glowing walls started reacting to the energy. Every shot made the blue light stronger, brighter, alive. Era's breathing grew heavy. Her hands began to glow brighter. It's happening again, she whispered in fear. Darius turned to her. Era, listen to me. Control it. Don't let it control you. I can't, she cried. It's too much. Her light spread across the floor, climbing the walls like rivers of fire. The vault symbols began spinning, rearranging into patterns no one could understand. The soldiers stopped shooting, backing away. What is this? One of them shouted. Varn's eyes widened. No, this can't be the vault sequence. Era screamed as her glow exploded into a blinding wave. The shock wave threw everyone off their feet. Weapons melted. The air shimmered like glass. When the light faded, Darius opened his eyes slowly. He was still alive somehow. His rifle was gone, the floor scorched. He looked around. The soldiers were unconscious or dead. Varn lay on one knee, his armor cracked, staring at the girl in horror. Era floated in the air again, her body surrounded by streams of white energy. Her eyes glowed like stars, but this time she didn't look afraid. Era, Darius called softly. Her voice echoed, calm, distant, and not entirely her own. I remember now, she said. I was born from two worlds, to open this one. The floor cracked open beneath her feet, revealing a chamber of light below, like the heart of a living planet. Varn rose to his feet, holding his blaster. If she completes the sequence, the vault will awaken. It'll wipe out the entire system. Darius turned sharply. What are you talking about? Varn pointed at the glowing chamber. The vault isn't a gift, it's a reset. It was built to restart life when civilizations become corrupt. If she finishes it, everything dies. Darius looked back at Ira, her face calm, peaceful, unaware of the destruction her energy could unleash. He shouted, Era, stop! You're triggering a weapon. She looked at him confused. A weapon? Yes. You'll destroy everything. Her glow flickered, but I can feel it, Darius. It's alive. It's calling me. He ran forward, trying to reach her, but Varn aimed again. Move aside, Holt. I'll end this. Darius turned, fury in his eyes. You'll touch her over my dead body. Varn's voice was steady. Then so be it. He fired. But before the blast reached them, Era raised her hand. The beam froze mid-air, then reversed direction, slamming into Varn. The explosion threw him against the wall. His armor shattered. The energy around her pulsed wildly, shaking the entire vault. Rocks fell and ancient machines roared to life. Darius, she cried, tears streaming down her glowing cheeks. It's too much. I can't stop it. He ran forward and caught her in his arms. The energy burned his skin, but he didn't let go. Listen to me, Ira, you're not a weapon. You're more than that, she sobbed. Then what am I? He pressed his forehead to hers. Your life. Your hope. You're everything they fear because they can't control you. For a moment, the light around them softened. Her breathing steadied. The roaring stopped. Then from behind the smoke, a weak voice came. Varn, barely alive. You don't understand. The vault will activate no matter what. The countdown has started. Darius turned, eyes wide. How long? Minutes, Varn coughed. And there's no way to stop it. Era looked up at him, fear returning to her eyes. What do we do, Darius? He took a deep breath. Then we find a way together. The light beneath their feet grew brighter, and the ancient vault began to open, revealing a massive glowing sphere, the size of a mountain pulsing with the heartbeat of a dying world. And as the planet trembled, Darius realized the truth. The only way to save the galaxy might be to let the girl he saved go. The world was shaking. The vault of Genesis had awakened. A deep hum filled the air. Not just sound, but vibration that reached through every stone, every breath, every heartbeat. Darius stood with Ira in his arms as light poured from the floor. The massive sphere below them pulsed like a living sun, its glow spreading through the tunnels like veins of fire. Ria's voice crackled weakly through his broken earpiece. Darius, what did you do? He looked at the glowing girl. I didn't do anything, Ria, she did. The readings are off the charts, Ria said. That thing's charging for a planet-wide reset. If you don't stop it...
Everything dies. Can we shut it down?
No, she replied. It's bound to her energy. The only way to stop it is to separate her from the vault's core. Darius's heart sank. Separate how? There was a long silence. Then Ria whispered, by cutting her life link. He froze. His throat went dry.
You mean, yes, Ria said softly.
You'd have to kill her. Era's head rested against his chest. She was exhausted, glowing faintly, her voice weak. Darius, I can feel the planet. It's talking to me. What is it saying? He asked quietly. That it's dying. It wants me to help it live again. Darius swallowed hard. If you do that, you'll disappear. She looked up at him, eyes full of calm light. Isn't that what life is, Darius? Giving what we have, so others can live? He felt his chest tighten. The soldier inside him had faced war, death, and loss, but this pain was worse. It was the pain of having something to lose again. He held her closer. You've done enough, Era. You don't have to save anyone. Her small hands touched his metal arm. You saved me when no one else would. Now let me save them. The vault's hum grew louder, shaking the ground. Outside, the skies above Varthon Prime began to split with storms of light. The celestial ships retreated, unable to withstand the power rising from the planet. Commander Varn lay broken near the edge of the platform, barely alive. He looked at Darius and rasped, "If she completes it, the reset will erase everything." "You'll die too," Darius glared at him. "Then I'll die doing something right, for once." Era stepped toward the sphere, her feet glowing as they touched the ground. Her body began to shine brighter, like she was becoming one with the light. "Era, wait," Darius shouted. She turned to him with a soft smile. "Don't be sad, Darius. You gave me a name. You gave me a reason to exist. That's more than I ever had." He took a step forward, voice breaking. "You're not just some creation. You're my—" Her glow intensified, cutting him off. The air around her shimmered. "My family," he finished quietly. Era's eyes filled with tears, even as her body started to dissolve into streams of light. "Then promise me something. Anything. When the stars shine again, remember me." He nodded, unable to speak. The vault opened completely, revealing a massive column of pure energy. Era stepped into it. Her small frame looked like a spark against a sun. The walls lit up, the ancient symbols rearranging into a spiral, the same symbol that marked her DNA. The ground shook as the energy surged upward, blasting into the sky. Outside, the explosion of light could be seen across the galaxy. Cities on other planets paused, their people looking up at the glowing sky that looked like dawn reborn. Rhea watched from her ship in orbit, tears streaming down her face. "She's stabilizing the planet's core. She's saving it." Inside the vault, Darius fell to his knees as the blinding light faded. The hum stopped. Silence returned. He looked up. The sphere had vanished, and so had Era. Only a faint shimmer of dust floated in the air, glowing softly like starlight. He reached out and caught some in his hand. It sparkled, then faded into his skin. "Goodbye, kid," he whispered. "You did it." Varn lay still now, his eyes open, staring into nothing. The war he fought for control ended without him. Darius stood slowly, his body aching but alive. The vault's glow dimmed, leaving behind only warmth, the warmth of life renewed. Days later, the twin suns rose over Varthon Prime, shining brighter than ever. The cities that once hated and feared began to rebuild. The council tried to hide the truth, but rumors spread of a human who defied their laws and a little alien girl who saved an entire world. They called her the Star Child. Darius returned to the same market where he'd first met her. The stall where she once begged was empty now. He placed a small metal charm there, a symbol she used to hold in her hand. "Guess you got your wish, Era," he said softly. "Everyone finally sees you." He looked up at the sky. For a brief moment among the twin suns, a faint shimmer appeared, a glow shaped like a little girl's smile. Darius smiled back. "Yeah, I remember.